Ice Cube has a brilliant idea on how to fix American women's professional basketball. It's going to be interesting watching black women, black WNBA players, destroy his idea. We'll get into it next. Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I'm Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Thursday. Thanks for joining me. Make sure if you're listening over Apple, you punch that 5-star rating. If you're watching over YouTube, hit the subscription, hit the likes, hit the notifications, leave a comment, hop in the chats, help us fight the algorithms. If you want to support this show, the number one thing you can do is subscribe to blazetv.com. Go to blazetv.com/fearless. Save $20 on your subscription. It's the greatest thing you can do to support me and this show. blazetv.com/fearless. Use the promo code fearless. Support Blaze TV with a subscription. This episode is brought to you by our good friends at Good Ranchers. Fall in love with beef, chicken, and seafood all over again by subscribing at goodranchers.com. Of course, use my promo code FEARLESS to get $150 worth of free chicken wings for a year plus. You can get $20 off your subscription. There you go. Taking care of our great friends at Good Ranchers. Thank you, Good Ranchers, for being good friends to us. And we need to be great friends to Good Ranchers because they support us. Let's get into today's show. I'm going to bring on TJ Moe to debate with me. I think we're going to have a full-blown argument. I may get upset with TJ. You guys have never seen that. But he's on the other side of my argument about Caitlin Clark. And Ice Cube's brilliant idea to bring Caitlin Clark to the BIG3. This would revolutionize women's professional basketball. I've got all kinds of ideas of how this is going to work, but it's going to get ruined. They're already out trying to ruin it. There's Lexie Brown that plays in the WNBA. She's running off at the mouth, blasting the idea and criticizing Ice Cube. It reminds me of this whole thing. No good deed goes unpunished. But let's listen to Ice Cube talk about his offer to Caitlin Clark.
When would you need an answer by? Because I thought about this as we went into break. If she's a BIG3 player going into the WNBA, that's vastly different than a WNBA player trying to get to the BIG3, right? Business-wise, if I'm just trying to piece it together?
Yeah, I mean, our offer is in. We just need an answer as soon as they're ready to give us one.
Yeah, she can be BIG3 today.
They're ready to give us one. Yeah.
Is there signing bonus in there? So, hey, we'll give you half this up front. Have you got to those terms? Or where is here's the offer sheet. They're taking it to Caitlin after the tournament. Obviously, don't want to distract her. But, you talking to her team, you feel good. You feel good about where you're at.
Well, I mean, we don't want to be more of a distraction than we already are. This leaked out where, we want to make sure that we, confirm the truths in here. And look, we don't want to talk about the deal. They have it. And if they want to sign it, we'll be happy to have her playing the BIG3.
Go ahead, Con, man.
Yeah, Cube, has there been any negotiations with maybe some of the retired former WNBA greats like Diana Taurasi, maybe Sue Bird, perhaps? Has there been any thoughts of doing that as well?
Sorry, Cube, that's on me. I just picked something up. I get the BIG3 ball, and I just covered up the whole thing. Sorry about it.
Not yet. This is a special situation, a special player, that's moving the needle, in a lot of different areas. Ratings, attendance, ticket sales, this, that, and the other. So, of course, our sponsors are very interested in a player like this. So, this is our first, look at, a player and going after this aggressively because we know it would move the needle in the league. And that's where we want to be.
That says it all. She moves the needle. Caitlin Clark, as I've dubbed her, Show White, moves the needle. from merchandise to attendance to what you can charge for tickets to television ratings, Caitlin Clark matters. ESPN is about to put out a special magazine all about Caitlin Clark. That doesn't exist anyplace else. There's nobody in the NBA, including LeBron James, that you could put a magazine about just dedicated to them and to have anybody go out in big numbers and buy it. Caitlin Clark is the biggest deal in all of sports, man or woman going right now. She's the Tiger Woods of women's basketball. She's the star of this NCAA tournament. Ice Cube's offer makes brilliant sense. And he said it. His sponsors, the sponsors of this league, they're interested in Caitlin Clark and investing in Caitlin Clark, and they will change the rules to make this make sense, and the players will go along with it. We're going to bring TJ Moe on. She's going to get killed. She'll never get a shot off. She'll get hurt. No way she should be doing this. They're going to change the rules. The players are going to go along. All this is, just like anything else on TV, is just a television show. And right now, Caitlin Clark is the greatest actor in sports. Let me repeat that. Caitlin Clark is the greatest actor in sports right now. She's a better actor than Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, LeBron James, Steph Curry. Is there anybody else? Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Mookie Betts. She's better than all of them. She's box office. People want to see Show White. And Ice Cube and the Big Three will figure out a way for her to do this safely, and they'll figure out a way for the players to go along with it because she'll make more money for all of them. But jealousy and envy, as is always the case, has reared its ugly head. And so here's Lexi Brown, who I think played college basketball at Duke. She plays for the LA Sparks. No one knows who she is, but she went on Gilbert Arenas' podcast yesterday. Let's play SOT number 2. This is Lexie Brown pretending or being upset with Ice Cube and the Big Three and questioning the offer, and play the clip.
If you open the article and you see what he said was his reasoning, he wanted to provide more opportunities for WNBA players and provide opportunities to not go overseas. So you offered the contract to a player who's not yet even in the WNBA. Big Three does not happen during overseas season, so that doesn't make sense.
That's true.
And then you pretty much offended all of the European countries that open their doors to us, give us a lot of money, a lot of love, and a lot of experience by calling them dismal and dubious. And there are some very beautiful countries that we have the opportunity to go play in. So, I mean, if you're gonna say that it's for that, then stand on that. But I don't think I think he's trying to make a business decision, which he's a businessman, that makes sense. But to mask it in this, I want to uplift and support WNBA players and women athletes is kind of a cop-out, I think. And I don't think it really makes any sense.
This is relatable to all men. There are just some women who can't be pleased, no matter what. You can go an hour. You can go 2 hours. You can do things you've never done before. Not satisfied. Never satisfied. We've never had an American woman basketball player offered $5 million, $4 million, $3 million, $2 million, $1 million to play basketball here in the States. And this woman has found a way to be offended by it. Oh, you're offending the foreign countries. Oh my God. How dare you offend the foreign countries? Can't be satisfied. It doesn't matter what you do. This is a great opening opportunity for American women's basketball players. Caitlin Clark can drag all of these angry women to the financial promised land that they've been begging for. If Lexi Brown was smart, she'd be awesome, Cube. Now, WNBA, what's your counter? What are you going to do? Someone's offering her to pay Caitlin Clark $5 million to play in the BIG3 in a 3-on-3 league, and you're only, Lexi Brown, I believe, makes $80,000. That, he's elevating the market. She is, he is, Ice Cube. He's elevating the market for all women's basketball players, but Lexi Brown's upset. Now, Lexi Brown says the WNBA is waiting on Caitlin Clark. Play the clip.
No.
My thing is because I put a tweet out,
Dudes walked away
like I
from
always
this.
do.
I was monitoring your social media to see the reaction.
The people coming at me, no one really came at me sideways. One, I'm not a hater. This has nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. If he offered this to any college player, it would have been like, why? But because he's offering her $5 million, that's a better business decision than the WNBA wanting her to come play at the WNBA and be locked in with the W. That's not a business decision for us. We're haters because we want her to come to the W where she will be celebrated and embraced and uplifted. It's gonna be like, nothing's gonna be easy, it's gonna be competitive, but we're waiting for her. So for us to get like just constantly shit on, like you can't even acknowledge the growth and how amazing the WNBA is doing because shit like this happens.
She's lying. Again, this is something all men can relate to. She's not saying what she really thinks. She's, we're waiting on her. We're going to uplift and we're going to celebrate her. Really? When is that going to start? When is that going to start? The alphabet mafia in the WNBA is waiting to devour Caitlin Clark with jealousy, envy, and hate. She's going to be mistreated in the WNBA. Everybody knows it. And I would have said this about anybody in the college game. No, you wouldn't. You're saying this because she's white. You don't like Show White. You're jealous about it. That's why Cheryl Swope's attacked her. That's why everybody's attacked. No one's really out celebrating Caitlin Clark the way she should be being celebrated. You're doing the exact same thing that happened to Tiger Woods when he started dominating golf. Remember Fuzzy Zeller? That's who you are. When Tiger Woods won the 1997 Masters and put a clown suit on everybody and took golf to new heights and made money rain on everybody in golf, there were idiots who were jealous and envious and giving in to their racial bias and telling Tiger Woods, what you gonna serve at the players' dinner or the champions' dinner, fried chicken and collard greens? That's gonna be the next thing out of somebody's mouth is they gonna say, Caitlin Clark, don't bring no potato salad with raisins in it. That will be their next statement. Oh, but we're gonna celebrate and uplift her in the WNBA. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're gonna try to strip her of all of her skill, accomplishments. You're gonna try to destroy her reputation. And then you're going to try to recruit her to the alphabet mafia. That's what's going to happen in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark needs to take this $5 million, and about 10 other women need to join her and take $250,000 checks to go play in the WNBA, to go play in the BIG3 in a remade league that will have rules that will protect Caitlin Clark's safety and allow her to participate. And I don't care what it looks like. It's just a TV show. It will work. People are infatuated with Caitlin Clark. Putting her on the court with a couple of guy teammates in a 3-on-3 game is a way to make people pay attention to women's basketball players. This idea of Ice Cube's and his sponsors, this could be dynamite. But, and Kenyon Martin here, he was on this podcast as well with Lexi Brown. He's coming from a real place. But he ain't got it figured out. Kenyon Martin, I think, plays a little bit or has played in the Big Three, had a great NBA career, was the number 1 overall draft pick in the NBA years ago, has a son, I believe, in the NBA now. He was on this podcast with Gilbert Arenas and Lexi Brown. Here they are talking about, what he thinks will happen in the Big Three if Caitlin joins.
They're going to take it too personal. And it's way more physical than anything she's ever imagined playing, for one.
That shit was too physical for me.
Yeah.
I went to a Big Three game.
It's the most physical shit you've ever seen, right? It's a step under prison balls.
Yeah.
Right? You got prison ball, you got Big Three. Especially the first few years. Like, I was telling my partner earlier, MG, me and MG was talking, I'm like, could you imagine her getting stuck down on Reggie Evans? Just take for shits and giggles if this was a real thing and she was able to participate and he put her out there. Could you imagine her being matched up and Reggie guarding her for one, for two, her being, it's 3-on-3. She can't hide nowhere. Guarding Reggie Evans out.
She gonna score.
Huh? She ain't.
No, she's not.
No, she's
you don't think she's gonna score a point?
No, she would not score.
I think she would score.
She would not score one.
She would score.
Lexi.
That's brute basketball.
Lexi.
I think she would score.
It's 3-on-3. She can't hide nowhere.
How's she gonna get the ball past? She gonna take the ball out?
She gonna take the ball out, then what?
They're gonna pick her up right soon as that line.
Soon as she take, because
soon as she try to cross that line, boom.
What? And the game, and it's done, right?
It's not what's going to happen. These guys aren't paying attention to what's happening in sports. They're taking all the physicality out of sports. The NFL just passed a rule basically further illegalizing tackling. All of these sports are being emasculated. The NBA, it's been completely emasculated. These guys are acting like this stuff is real and it's not just a TV show and it's not just done to drive ratings. They're pretending like it's still real competition out there. It's not. Every year, the NFL moves closer and closer to the Pro Bowl. What do they have to do with the Pro Bowl? Where do we eventually go with the Pro Bowl? Oh, it's flag football now, and it's a skills competition. What's going on in the NBA? It looks more and more like NBA All-Star Weekend. Hey, I got load management. I'm tired. I don't want to play tonight. This is it. Look, NBA All-Star Game. You think Caitlin Clark couldn't play in the NBA All-Star Game? As little competition, as little physicality, as little intensity as there is in the NBA All-Star Game. What have they done to NBA All-Star Week? It's now a skills competition. Who just participated in the three-point shooting contest against Steph Curry? What's the woman's name? Starts with an I think. Her last name, I don't even remember her first name. She's not Caitlin Clark. She's not Angel Reese. She's not Juju Watkins. I really don't care. She doesn't play in women's college basketball, so I really don't care. She's not Flau'jae Johnson. I could go on. But whoever it was, she just competed in NBA All-Star Weekend. Are these guys? Wet your finger, Kenyon. Wet your finger, Gilbert Arenas. Figure out which way the wind is blowing. It's blowing in a feminine direction. They will figure out a way for Caitlin Clark to play in the Big Three without getting brutalized. They'll change up all kinds of rules. They'll put a new line out there on the court where, Caitlin and another woman player, they can't go inside of this mark in the lane. They'll get them away from all the physicality and getting hurt. They'll come up with some rules. No different. The NFL, look what they've done to kickoffs. They're changing every rule to promote player safety and to feminize the game. It's not about an intense competition. It's about, wait for it, diversity, equity, and inclusion. If they can figure out how to make women coaches in the NFL, they'll figure out a way to get Caitlin Clark on the court during the Big Three and have it be televisable so they can get them ratings and collect those checks. And the players will go along with it because eventually, in year 2, or maybe even this year if Caitlin Clark goes along, there'll be more money in it for them. Do you think, I'm not saying this to take a pot shot, but if you think when they sit down, let's say a Royce White, and say, hey, Royce, this is the way we're going to play in the Big 3. This is how much more money you're going to get. And this is how many more people are going to see the stuff you write on the side of your head. You know what Royce White's going to say? Okay, cool, I'm good. Thank you. More people are going to see this stuff I write on the side of my head, and I get a bigger check. I'm fine. That's what's going to happen. Everybody needs to step into reality, take the scales off their eyes. These are TV shows. That's all they are. I'm going to bring TJ Moe on. He and I are going to argue about this. I'm going to prove him wrong as he tries to argue the other side of this. He thinks she's going to get killed. But Caitlin Clark's got game. Ice Cube has brains. Game and brains. This is going to work. I want to thank Patriot Mobile for allowing me to do this. For 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. And when I say only, trust me, they're the only one. Founder Glenn Story and his team have been great supporters of this show, which is why I am proud to partner with them. Patriot Mobile offers dependable nationwide coverage, giving you the ability to access all 3 major networks, which means you get the same coverage you've been accustomed to without funding the left. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you're sending the message that you support free speech, religious freedom, the sanctity of life, the Second Amendment, and our military veterans and first responders. Their 100% US-based customer service team makes switching easy. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their team will help you find the best plan for your needs. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Jason or call 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation when you use the free offer code Jason. Join me, make the switch today, patriotmobile.com/Jason. That's patriotmobile.com/Jason, or just call 972-PATRIOT. Guys, I hope you're signing up. We got about 3 or 4 days left. On Monday, I think the ticket prices for roll call are going up. We have added, obviously, John Rich, Mark Robinson, Glenn Beck's going to be here, but we got other speakers that we've added to the list, including Tim Floyd. I believe we've got some Super Bowl football players, Mark Schlereth and Matt Burke. They're coming in. Not sure they'll speak, but they'll be here, probably be a part of some panel discussions. The Roll Call 2.0 is going to be bigger and better than ever before. Go to fearlessarmyrollcall.com. Get your discounted tickets now, because when I make these announcements on Monday about what all we're doing, ticket prices are going up. This thing is going to be amazing. I was talking to Tamara the other day. She's coming back in to sing Freedom. We got some other singers to go along with John Rich. This is going to be an amazing concert, amazing food, amazing speeches. FearlessArmyRollCall.com. Get your tickets before they go up on Monday. FearlessArmyRollCall.com. Reserve your spot today. TJ Moe, I'm going to beat up on TJ the way he thinks the Big 3 will beat up on Caitlin Clark. Next.
It's my obligation, no hate, discrimination, raising up your hands for freedom.
Hello, Fearless Army. I'm Jason Whitlock, your leader. I'm going to spend 2024 discussing growth and sacrifice. Hard times are here. Harder times are coming. What has stopped American growth and caused a regression in fundamental freedoms and values? A lack of sacrifice. Our ancestors sacrificed for our benefit. We have not sacrificed to protect the progress they died for. No sacrifice, no freedom. What impedes man's willingness to sacrifice? His ignorance, his perversion, his pride, his ingratitude, and his cowardice, his rejection of God. The Bible is a story about the power and the necessity of sacrifice. Sacrifice is the sun, rain, and fertilizer of growth. Growth is our life purpose. Grow in the knowledge, wisdom, fear, obedience, and reverence to the Most High. Growth requires sacrifice will be our theme for Roll Call 2.0 this summer, June 1, right back here in Nashville. We're excited to welcome you. Let me spend a minute explaining what GROWTH actually stands for us in the Fearless Army. The G is for game plan. In order to properly grow, it's essential we work from the strategic game plan spelled out in the Bible. The R, responsibility. As we grow as men, we understand and accept our responsibilities to God, family, and teammates. The O, ownership. We embrace ownership of our destiny. Outsiders do not determine our fate. The W, wisdom. We honor, value, and share the wisdom imparted to us by elders, coaches, and leaders. The T, trust. We must be worthy of trust. The reliability of a man's word defines him far more than popularity and material possessions. The H, humility. The reward for humility and fear of the Lord is riches and honor and life. That's straight from Proverbs 22:4. Come join us in Nashville as we talk about growth and sacrifice and how without sacrifice there will be no growth. Roll Call 2.0 right here in Nashville, Saturday, June 1st. All right, welcome back. TJ Moe headed to Slaughter. You guys can watch it here in real time. TJ, tell me why Caitlin Clark to the Big Three isn't going to work. It's a brilliant idea by Ice Cube. Go ahead and embarrass yourself and tell me why Ice Cube's wrong.
I mean, this is such an anti-Whitlock position. I can't even believe you're making this argument. You're saying if we just create this special little world where Caitlin Clark could succeed, then everything will be great. And apparently not keeping in mind, DEI and the woke world kills everything. So what you're saying is let's create the wokest world possible, and that's how we're going to succeed. While we're watching everything else that used to work, then go woke, and it's dying. So how do you square these two ideas? I'm stunned by the argument you're making.
Caitlin Clark is a superstar. She draws eyeballs. People are fascinated by her. You put her in an environment. You put her in the WNBA, she disappears, in my view. Unwatchable. I don't want to watch the WNBA. Too many tattoos, too many angry LGBTQ women. No interest. Put Caitlin Clark in the Big Three. I'm fascinated. And I don't care what they have to do to make it safe for her. That's what's going on in sports. I watch the NFL reluctantly now, and they've totally feminized the NFL, but I still watch because there's some compelling storylines there. Caitlin Clark is a compelling storyline. Put her in the Big Three. I'm going to watch. Other people are going to watch. We'll get over the fact that it looks like no basketball we've ever seen before. The Big Three already looks like some basketball we really haven't seen. We play it in our backyards. And so if they come up with some rules so she can play backyard basketball with guys, people are going to watch. It's going to be a success. And I think it's an opportunity for other women.
Yeah, I think the reason we still watch the NFL is because there's still like a measure of competition. What you're talking about is making this the WWE. There's just no. I looked up the roster.
People watch. People watch the WWE.
People do watch that, but that's not real competition, right? And so WWE came out, said it was fake.
Neither
from
is the NFL.
The NFL guys still actually go out and play. Now we're bending the rules in a way that I certainly don't like, but guys still go out and play. It's a physical sport, much less physical than it was when you and I played, and certainly when you played. But I can't see what if these guys. I looked at the roster. Brandon Rush is on these rosters. Royce White, Joe Johnson, Jason Richardson. Like, there's a lot of guys that played real basketball. I don't care if they're 50. If they were playing and actually trying, Caitlin Clark would not only not score, she would leave the court on a stretcher. And so, first of all, it's just a terrible idea to put a woman in the middle of a man's sport when there's competitive juices flowing. I think Royce was in the championship.
Are you not watching NBA officials? Are you not watching NFL officials? They're doing it already.
Sure, people actually get hurt in those sports, though, right? And it's like, I've seen women try to enter men's sports. No, these referees that they're putting out in the middle of men competing, they're already doing it. They're already laid the groundwork for this, TJ. Every time I see an NFL sideline ref with a ponytail or whatever it is, I grit my teeth and say, doesn't belong. It's stupid. They'll never put her, they won't put her in the middle of the action. But I continue to watch. Others continue to watch. Taylor Swift's a football fan now. And all of the little Swifties, they'll watch the Big Three or 5% of them or whatever. They're already setting us up for this, TJ. Well, they might be setting us up, but we're saying, is it going to work? And you're naming a bunch of ancillary people. There's a one-off assistant coach for Jim Harbaugh, and there's a referee that nobody knows the name of that's running around the corner. There's assistant strength director.
I know.
Stuff nobody knows or care about.
It's called being a little bit pregnant. It's called being a little bit pregnant. And so what they really are is pregnant. But go ahead.
Well, what I'm saying is they're smart enough that you can't put a woman as the focal point, tell me this is all real, and then lie to my face and expect me to watch. This has a 1-year runway. I would watch a game of Caitlin Clark, and when these 50-year-old guys, 40-year-old guys, in Royce's case, Royce is 30 years old. Royce is 6'8", 270 pounds, and he's 30 years old. And you think he's going to let Caitlin Clark score on him? I don't care how much money you wave in front of his face. Certainly not my face. You're not going to allow Caitlin Clark to just come on in the lane down a 6'8" guy that still believes he should be in the NBA. And these guys had real testosterone at least once upon a time. There's just not a chance in the world that these guys just allow Caitlin Clark to flourish and say, women should have been playing with us all along. I don't know why they weren't.
They're not going to say that. And the people that don't go along will be discarded. If Royce wants to play hardball, any of these guys want to play hardball, you know what Ice Cube is going to say? No one's watching because of you. They're watching because of Caitlin Clark. And they'll watch because there'll be a handful of other guys that will take this check, pay their child support, buy their gold chains, buy their weed, whatever, and we'll go along to get along. No one's tuning in to see Royce White, Brandon Rush, Jason Richardson, any of these other people. And so it's like the show, what was Charlie Sheen? Is Charlie Sheen the crazy guy?
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen. He had a TV show, 2 Men and a Baby.
2.5 Men. 2.5 Men.
2.5 Men. Yeah, 2.5 Men. He was the star. And so whatever he wanted to happen on that show, that's what happened. And when he quit the show, everybody left and quit watching. They tried to do it without him, and it didn't work. That's what Caitlin Clark is going to be to the Big Three, and they'll put the pieces around. If they got to put me out there, they'll do it.
Nobody will watch.
They will do it.
It's got a 1-year runway.
They're going to watch
maybe.
Caitlin Clark.
They won't. No, but you're making the argument that they're not going to watch her in the WNBA, but they're going to watch this made-up sport that nobody's ever heard of in the Big Three. We have to create a whole. It's not actually basketball, the sport that she got famous for. We're creating new lines. You don't actually know what the rules are going to be. We're saying you can't touch her. You can't get within 5 feet of her. You're going to have to pretend to let her get her shot off. You're going to have to run around in circles with a blindfold on in order for her to go, and then everybody is going to continue to pay attention. I don't buy it. You have a 1-year runway of me, and I'll be watching her get beat up.
Let me tell you why you don't buy. Let me tell you why you don't buy. Because you're not old enough to remember that there was a time when Steph Curry would be Dale Curry. Dale Curry was a nice NBA player that probably at the peak of his career averaged 15, 16 points a game in a season. I'd have to look it up. That's probably who Steph Curry is. If you move him back to the 1980s, Steph Curry is a nice player. But what they've done to the NBA is, they came up, you can't hand check, you can't touch. You can't foul hard. You can't do X, Y, and Z. And so I'm watching a game that's been recreated so that someone like Steph Curry and Dame Lillard can all run around and pretend like they're Isaiah Thomas or Michael Jordan or the best players in the league. I'm watching a made-up game of NBA basketball right now. Players play when they want to play. They play no defense. They've opened up the lane where everybody can just waltz down there and dunk. I'm already watching a recreated game. And so if the Big Three, a league without the baggage and the history of the NBA, where I have all these fond memories of the NBA, the Big Three is a made-up thing in the first place, so they might as well massage the rules. And what they're betting on is people are dumb enough to go for it. You're underestimating how dumbed down we've been made to believe. And I'm going to give you another example, just how dumbed down we are and how we'll believe anything that's said on TV. Maybe not me and you. Maybe we'll do it with gritted teeth. But for the most part, TJ, and this is just, we live in a world where we're debating if men can get pregnant. People say it on TV, people go for it, and they engage in the conversation and discussion. We live in a world where people saying Christ is king is anti-Semitic. We live in a world where people went on TV for 10 straight years. Man, these police, God, they just shooting these black boys headed off to college at random. People went for it. We're living in a make-believe world, and so I don't blame them for that. You know what? We can make this up, and these idiots will go for it.
Let me give you another reason why it won't work. You brought up that, of course, Caitlin Clark could play in the NBA All-Star game, the game that is so boring that nobody wants to watch it. And so you're making the same argument.
Nobody wants to, but people watch it.
Not really, though. And every year that continues, less people are watching because it's a crappy product. And that is with the built-in audience. You're having to build an audience here. That's a totally different thing. And so that's one start. And the other thing is, look, I know everybody, myself included, likes Caitlin Clark and wants to pretend she can play with the boys. I looked it up. She played with the boys in grade school, okay? In order for Caitlin Clark to get by one of these athletes, they would have to make it as though they were playing against seventh graders. Oh, you got right by me, man. Good job. Oh, you got your shot off. I just couldn't jump up there and get it. It's like Royce White would have to play with. That's not going to be her role.
She's not going to get by anybody. She's going to shoot from way deep. That's what she does.
Then you're going to have to play way off her for no reason. Everybody's going to have to say, hey, why don't you get up on her? And say, well, we're not allowed to. And it's, oh, okay, so we're just playing a glorified game of pig.
And it may work, but she'll likely, in this new Big Three, she'll likely be guarded by another woman. I think they'll put a woman, it'll be 3-on-3 with a woman on the court at all times for both teams. That's what I think they'll do. As far as her playing against, it's commonplace for these women's college basketball teams to scrimmage against male athletes. Commonplace, happens all the time. And they're doing it without getting hurt.
Athletes.
Or significantly hurt.
These are walk-on guys from the rec league. Walk-on guys from the rec league who were backups on their own high school varsity team, and they're the best players. Yes, they're the best players. Look, listen to any of these guys. There was Nebraska was playing Iowa earlier this year. And they said, yeah, we pulled this guy up, and he was Caitlin Clark, because we don't have any players that could be as good as Caitlin Clark. But some random guy that's not good enough to play any level of college ball, he was good enough to play Caitlin Clark in practice. And we're saying a bunch of former NBA guys that are all 6'7". Yeah, that'll work. Just play way off her, let her shoot. In fact, nobody's allowed to guard Caitlin Clark at all, and then the rest of you guys have to go mix it up underneath the rim. I don't happen. You'll get a couple sponsors. You will, and you'll have a runway of a year, maybe two. I doubt it. I bet halfway through the year, they're tired of watching the nonsense.
Let me ask you something, TJ. How long has the WNBA runway been?
Nobody's watching.
People
Your argument is that they'll watch.
No. They're going to get a long runway is what my argument is. They've given the WNBA. No, I got it. But they've given they're going to finance this until the cows come home, because this is their wet dream. This is their fantasy. And so they're going to pour all of their resources into it. And I'm just telling you, again, it's like the whole Black Lives Matter thing. That worked for 10 years, 12 years, billions of dollars. And so they'll milk this thing, and they're going to force us to accept it. And I'm just going to be real with it. I enjoy Caitlin Clark, and I'm starting to get the same level of passion for this Juju Watkins. I'm going to watch him play in the Big Three. And I'm going to root for it, and I'm going to watch it. Now, maybe it'll be awful, and maybe I'll be turned off by it, but I doubt it. I'm watching women's college basketball right now. A lot of it is beneath my standards of what I enjoy about basketball, but I watch it because I enjoy the competition. I enjoy the storylines.
The competition.
And
there will be no competition.
Yeah, there will.
When? How?
Look, man. Hulk Hogan is an icon. Who are the Stone Cold Steve Austin? The
That's
Rock
a movie.
may run
That's
for
a
president
movie.
because of wrestling. I got it.
It's a play. It's a bit. We're mixing the two. You can either be a play, or you can be competition. You can't lie to us and say it's competition, but really it's a scripted play. That doesn't work.
TJ, I'm done with you. I've won this argument. I'll be proven right over the long haul. You'll be watching the big DIE. Or the big DE.
DI3.
Or whatever.
Yes.
DI3, yeah, you'll be watching. All right, guys, I want to talk to you about a new, exciting piece of content we produced here at The Blaze, Aqua Donkeys. In a world that is saturated with agenda-driven humor, we here at The Blaze believe that sometimes it's good to laugh, just for the sake of laughing. That's why today we're proud to be releasing our second comedy film, Aqua Donkeys. If you subscribe at blazetv.com, you can join in on the fun. Last year we released the comedy Reopening to amazing success, again, because sometimes comedy is just about being funny, and it was funny. Aqua Donkeys continues that tradition, telling the hilarious story of two optimistic pool boys chasing their dream girl. Look, the world can be a pretty dark place a lot of times, and while we can't ignore that, every once in a while, it's good to take a little break from all the heavy and just have some fun, and you can have fun with us watching Aqua Donkeys, but only if you're a subscriber. So head over to blazetv.com/Aqua Donkeys and subscribe for just $15. Let's stay connected, stay informed, and above all, let's stay hopeful. All right, Steve Kim, Korean Cosell, next. Welcome back to Beef. As I walk you through my top 50 media beefs of all time. Yeah, I'm an equal opportunity beefer. It's like, Randy, are you asleep at the wheel? Big lips are in style. I'd love to squash this beef. I mean, I was not real happy at all. I was less than thrilled. I was displeased. And now we have beef. Because we've given the referees another judgment call. And what we're going to have are more complaints about the legitimacy, the integrity. Is this game rigged? Is it being manipulated?
All right, look, guys, I got to be real with you. Trayshawn DeAndre just scored that touchdown, okay? I have him on my fantasy team this week. I need these points.
What? Are you kidding me?
Jason, I can imagine late August. Hopefully I'll be in Gainesville for the Miami Hurricanes opener. I know what you'll be doing. You'll be doing studying cut-ups and clips of Caitlin Clark's mid-range game.
Boom. Roasted.
Football, we have to keep this into perspective. When people say football's gotten soft.
Let's go call your mom.
Most regular human beings could not play football. Nor would they want to, nor should they. Let's be honest. Us Asians, for the most part, we should not be on the football team. We should be tutoring them. We get it.
Where's Mossy? There he is. Here's my impression of Mossy trying to catch the ball. Oh, sushi egg roll. I'm a karate kid, but I can't f***ing get.
Yeah, 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 reason that I'm back is to feed you raps and I see that you are 배불러 so fly.
All right, welcome back. Time for some Korean co-sell. Let's roll out to Los Angeles, bring in Steve Kim. Steve, you and I talked about Caitlin Clark a bit yesterday, so I'm not going to make you rehash that, although I will give you an opportunity to retract all of your comments and admit that Ice Cube is brilliant and that this is going to, no, you're not. You're going to go Lexi Brown on me? You're going to take a dump on Caitlin Clark? Are you jealous, envious? Are you going to be racist against Caitlin Clark, show white?
First of all, I'm in Glendale, Arizona for the fights this weekend taking place tomorrow night. So I might be a little echoey. Now, as for my comments, I don't retract anything. No. Unlike Ice Cube's, I'm not 100 miles and running. I am standing by my word. I don't even know what. Look, here's the thing. The more and more I think about it, what a silly idea. And I'm going to get serious here. Not only are you going to show that female players are far inferior to their male counterparts, which we already knew, we should be allowed to say it. The other thing is this. So you're going to go out there and basically try and diminish the one female league. Now, Jason, you and I have a particular strong opinion against the WNBA, but that league still will employ a lot more female basketball players at a loss, it has to be noted, than the DI3, your idea. So again, you are now pointing out the differences between the caliber of athletes and also hurting a league that in theory is supposed to uplift female basketball. To me, for that particular genre, that is a lose-lose situation.
Not you and TJ are both nuts. Don't know what you're talking about, but I'm gonna leave it alone.
Excuse me.
I want to move on to a story that happened a little earlier this week. I want to play you this clip of the Utah women's basketball coach. What's her name? Do I need it? Lynn Roberts, I believe it's the young woman's name. The young woman had to move her team to a different hotel because, they were harassed so terribly in Idaho. I think they were playing in. Anyway, let's play. Here's the Utah women's coach, Lynn Roberts, talking about the very harrowing experience they had staying at the wrong hotel in Idaho. Play the clip.
The Gonzaga is the host in Spokane, but our team hotel was in Coeur d'Alene. We had several instances of some kind of racial hate crimes towards our program. And, racism is real and it happens and it's awful. And so for our players, whether they are, white, black, green, whatever, no one knew how to handle it, and it was really upsetting. And for our players and staff to not feel safe in an NCAA tournament environment, it's messed up. And so we moved hotels, and the NCAA and Gonzaga worked to get us in a new hotel, and we appreciate that. But yeah, that's what happened, and it was a distraction and upsetting and unfortunate.
Very harrowing experience. According to the allegations, they were walking into a restaurant and a truck pulled up, revved its engine, and someone yelled the N-word out the window. Very harrowing experience. I could see why these young women, oh boy, someone yelled something and an engine revved. That was a day in the park back in my generation, and no one held press conferences and demanded to move hotels. But I know I'm old and I'm not a part of this modern America, and and then allegedly on the way out, another truck came by and revved the engine and yelled the N-word. I think Utah has 3 black players on their team. Steve, I'm going to get ripped for this, but this sounds Jussie Smollett-ish to me. Someone said it was MAGA country and they tied nooses around it. I don't know. It just, maybe someone did yell something, but I don't. Switching hotels and framing up the people of Idaho. You buying this story?
Maybe they're coming back from their team dinner from Subway. I mean, if you really want to go to that route, here's what I think. I believe those were BYU volleyball fans. They have a history. Those are some nasty people. I'll tell you that right now. You had the old days, you had the KKK. Now you got the student section for BYU volleyball games. And the Utes and the Cougars, they don't get along up there. I mean, that's a heated riot. Here's the thing. I don't want to be unsympathetic to anyone's plight, but a lot of this has become almost like a racial Me Too movement. Is that the allegation within itself supersedes any type of evidence, or if it even happened. And so that naturally, once you make this statement the way that coach did, in a kind of, sort of racial thing, okay, well, that's pretty ambiguous. You didn't really get specific as to what happened, right? There's no real evidence like Bill Russell when people broke into his home and spread feces all over his bed sheets and his walls. Like, there's concrete evidence that something happened there. Here you have a coach making this kind of ambiguous, nebulous term that something happened and we're uncomfortable and racism is real. Okay, so now you gave us a PSA. I don't know what to think of it, but here's the issue. If you are a team and you have an unpleasant interaction with somebody outside your circle every single time, does that mean now you have to go out there and pack your bags and move to another 4 seasons in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho? I don't know. I hate to be as cynical as you, Jason, but when I hear things like this nowadays, I say, okay, show me some concrete proof.
So I think part of the complaint here is we're playing in Spokane. We're upset. We're staying at a hotel 35 minutes away in Idaho. And people bring their own stereotypes about Idaho. Oh, I'm in Idaho. There's no black people. These people must all hate black people because it's so white and we're staying 35 minutes away. I think these women wanted a new hotel and had their ears up and eyes open looking for some sort of justification to get a new hotel, and they got it, mission accomplished. That's what I authentically believe. Do I believe someone possibly could have yelled a racial slur at them? Yes, I do. I do. I've experienced that. It's happened. It does happen. I've never had to pick up and move, though, because, again, most people that are revving a car and yelling something out the window, they're cowards. They're not going to do anything. They're cowards. And these are big, tough athletes or whatever, but now we're women and we're so fragile and we feel unsafe. They just didn't want to stay in Idaho, and they were upset about it, and they figured out a way not to stay in Idaho. Hats off to the young ladies.
Jason, I get it. Idaho is one of those places, there's no there. So hotel, motel, Holiday Inn, I hope they got moved into a 4 seasons with those nice big soft pillows. I get it. But this is a fact. No matter what perception you have of Idaho, I would love to see the crime statistics based on violent crime or any type of crime, let's say compared to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, to Baltimore, to Philadelphia, to New Orleans, to Chicago. Yeah, I said it.
You know what? I hope next year Utah's in the NCAA tournament, and I hope there's a site in Memphis. And I hope they put them up in a hotel in Memphis. I wonder how safe they'll feel there. And so if they go into a restaurant in Memphis and someone comes driving past with their window open with loud rap music talking about killing Let's see if anybody feels, hey, you know what? Can you get us a hotel in Nashville? We don't feel safe in Memphis. I wonder if that'll be the case. Or when they hear violent rap music talking about killing, hey, I feel comfortable here. I love that beat. I love that Snoop song. This is heaven. Sorry, I went there. But,
and Jason, and don't forget the songs with the bees and the hoes. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
That one too.
Yeah. Eminem can rap about, and this is a true Eminem lyric. I'm so something that women orgasm even when I rape them, or something like that. That's an authentic Eminem lyric on a Dr. Dre song. I'm sure that'll make them feel real comfortable. Anyway, let me move on. RG3 is the one guy that has stepped out here and defended Caleb Williams for his pink nail polish and pink phone. RG3 tweets out, let Caleb Williams be Caleb Williams. Ain't nothing wrong with him wearing pink fingernail polish and having a pink phone case. Quite frankly, if he goes to Chicago, then Bears fans should be rocking whatever he is. Stop the hate and accept him for who he is. And so Bears fans should get their fingernails painted pink and get pink cell phone covers. That's the solution. Everybody needs to be just like Caleb Williams. I hear this, Steve, and all I think is like RG3, because of his quirky, weird, emasculated personality, had difficulty commanding a locker room in the NFL, and he wants an NFL experience where you can be quirky and feminine and insecure and still be quarterback and a leader. So it doesn't surprise me here that he's caping up for Caleb Williams. But I just don't see this playing in Chicago. But maybe Chicago, and look, this is like part of the agenda. Maybe they do want all the kids in Chicago painting their fingernails pink and carrying pink cell phone cases. Maybe that's what they want for young boys in Chicago. I guess it's better than them carrying guns on O Block. But your thoughts on RG3 here?
Chicago, the city of broad manicures. I don't know. I just don't think it plays in the Windy City. I really don't. And you know, when I was reading that tweet, when I saw it from RG3, I kind of had visions. Remember when AOC did her black scent? Ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with working a job. I'm like, oh, God, RG3 went there with his own black scent. I am noticing something, Jason. It's really interesting about the broad spectrum, and it's not really that broad because it's either left or right, about the coverage and how you feel about that particular young man, Caleb Williams. It seems to me like the mainstream corporate media is there to defend him at all costs. His quirks, his idiosyncrasies, even his play. While more of the hardcore football guys like JB and people that really watch the tape, the all 22 that understand the game of football, like Merrill Hodge, and there's a guy on Twitter named, I think, First Round Mock, who I'm really kind of like delving into, who gives very strong opinions, who say this guy's a 5th round grade. It is interesting to me. It almost seems like there is an agenda, which they're known to have, to protect him at all costs, defend him at all costs. He's untouchable. And the other side, the football side, says, no. We don't want anything to do with this guy. It's not only his play, it's his manner, and it just does not work. I find that to be fascinating because you could almost guess based on who individuals work for, what side they're going to take in this Caleb Williams debate.
Another thing going on around RG3 is Andrew Marchand of the New York Post is reporting that ESPN wants to replace RG3 on their Monday Night Football Countdown show with Jason Kelce. And so maybe RG3's woke shtick isn't working nearly as effectively as he thinks. He's kind of been the belle of the ball over there at ESPN. They've been shoving him down our throat. But now they got a chance to replace him with Jason Kelce, or would like to replace him with Jason Kelce. For me, as a football person, as someone that would love to see a more masculine discussion of football, I think this would be an upgrade and may be an indication that ESPN is souring a little bit on RG3?
don't know about that. I will say this, though. If I'm Jason Kelce and I have my own platform that I've started with my brother that seems to be gaining traction, they do a good job on that. They've gone viral more than a few times. And Kelce now has been very savvy in terms of marketing himself. In fact, all the way down to who his partner is currently. So he's penetrated into the mainstream of the American mindset. And he seems to be an outspoken guy, or he wants to be. And if he wants to be that guy, Jason, I know from firsthand experience, you want true freedom of speech. You want to keep your First Amendment rights. And this is important. You want to have some fun and be freewheeling with what you say. The four-letter network is not the place for you. Look, I get it. I think anyone would be an upgrade over RG3. But I have to be honest, I don't watch that show at all. I just, at 5:15 Pacific time, I turn on the game. And I can pretty much tune out anybody else. But I'm not so sure that if you have other options or your own platform, I'm not so sure ESPN is the place to be like it was, let's say, 15, 20 years ago.
Dan Patrick agrees with you. He's advised Jason Kelce to stay away from ESPN. Let's play the clip.
So according to Andrew Marchand, ESPN is interested in Jason Kelce. If he asked me, hey, you worked there for 18 years, I would say you have to be ready for what they're going to ask you to do. You don't just come in and do Monday Night Countdown. There's so much more they're going to ask you to do. And it's called the car wash for a reason. That you go in, you're going to be on this show and this show and this show and this show. You're at their demand. I mean, Troy Aikman has to do things with the mothership where he didn't have to do that when he was with Fox. That's what happens. And, you know, Charles Barkley asked me about it. And I said that ESPN is not the place for you because I want to hear Charles one time. I don't want it to be watered down that you're hearing it 3 or 4 times over the course of a day. If you go there, you have to be geared up to, I really like being on TV. I really like being on radio. I really like doing somebody's podcast. And if Jason Kelce is interested in that, then that can be the place for him. I wouldn't advise him to go there because I think he's a unique voice right now. And I would want to have one place where you would hear him and you would tune into that instead of you've already heard him on, you know, the morning radio show or afternoons or Stephen A's podcast. Like, I need you a standalone. People are going to tune in to see you and hear you.
I agree with Dan for a slightly different reason. It's why these athletes say so many dumb things, because they're asked to come up with too much content. They got little specific areas they know something about, but then when you end up on 3 or 4 or 5 different shows and you're trying to say something different, that's how you end up saying dumb things, and that's how you end up becoming inauthentic and prepackaged. It's again, Ryan Clark in his attempt to be this thoughtful, whatever, much of it, because he does the pivot, he's on all these ESPN shows, much of it just sounds prepackaged and phony because he's being asked to do way too much.
Jason, I've told you this before, but they asked Charles Barkley, what about ESPN? He said, no, you're not getting me to work that hard. He's not doing the car wash at all. The other thing is, and I know this from experience, when you work at ESPN, not only do they expect you to go on certain shows, especially if you're the top tier A1 level talent, right? They also tell you who you can't be on with. And that bothered me, that I'd have long-time relationships with specific bloggers or guys that I knew in the radio field. You had to get everything cleared through your editor, who then went to another person that then gave you the green light. And I hated that restriction. It became kind of awkward in my view after a while. The other thing is, Jason, when you get on that mothership and you're under that Disney umbrella, and again, I realize that Kelce, he is a spokesperson or an endorser for Pfizer or one of the vaccines. He took some other things that were kind of like not really palatable to a lot of people. But again, he was an endorser. He got paid money. Maybe it was just about the money. But let's say they ask him about certain things like, would you want a transgender athlete to be playing against women? Or how do you feel about a female coach in the National Football League specifically coaching you? And let's say he just gave an honest answer that did not go against the L. Duncan doctrine, right? Because she seems to be like the moral compass of that whole network. Guess what? he'll get a talking to. He would actually get ostracized. And my view is this, well, wait a minute. Did Travis Kelce at that point then not have the ability to give his true feelings? If he's willing to go through all of that, have at it. Enjoy Bristol.
Steve, enjoy the fights. Enjoy Arizona. We'll see you next week. Don't miss tomorrow, Friday's edition of Fearless with Jason Whitlock. Kwame Brown is going to join us. Kwame Brown, the former NBA star. We're going to talk about the installed. Steph Curry, Stephen A. Smith, Charlamagne the God, all of them installed. Installed for different reasons. I'm not putting Steph Curry in the same lane as Charlamagne or Stephen A. Smith, but I'm going to explain to you how Steph Curry, yes, he too can be installed and has been installed to justify a horrible cartoon, Good Times, on Netflix that damages the image of black people. The Installed. Tune in tomorrow. Don't miss it. We'll play some tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came in like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on the corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, all deceiving. We all wanna be free. We want freedom.